Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. The Broncos finally have a game, Perna. And even though this is a meaningless game, something amazing could happen. Like what Saquon Barkley did on his first carry for the Giants.
Barkley gets the first touch. That's why he was second overall.
He's there in the hole. He reads it.
That's why he was second overall. That's why he was second overall. Out across the...
Yeah, it's football season, baby, and fart jokes fuel That's Good Sports. The Broncos may have one of the most intertwined QB battles in the history of preseason. 5 of the 6 quarterbacks playing Saturday have been or currently are Broncos, and the 6th in Kirk Cousins was maybe close to becoming one. Case Keenum used to be a Viking, so you have Keenum versus Cousins, Paxton Lynch versus Trevor Siemian, and of course Chad Kelly versus Kyle Sloter. The third string backup fight galore to infinity of success for man dudes throwing balls. Talk about interesting. The rest of this video will cover battles that actually matter. That's Good Sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're new here. If you're old, click the stupid notification button, okay? And I do want to give a shout out to my friend Chris Harris, not of the Broncos. Chris Harris, who has the Harris Fantasy Football Podcast. He just relaunched his YouTube channel, and he's posting fantasy football videos there every day. And these are like legit fantasy, in-depth breakdowns. The dude knows his shit. So go give his channel a subscription. I believe the channel is called Harris Football. This is the channel right here. I'll put a link in the description and let him know That's Good Sports sent you, okay? Do it. First preseason game. What's gonna happen? The Broncos starters are gonna get 2 series Saturday night. That's Keenum, that's Von Miller, that's DT, all the guys you wanna see. You know what I mean? The injured players, however, will not be on the field because they're fucking injured. That's Su'a Cravens with the knee, Menelik Watson with the pectoral, and Jeff Heuerman with the knee. Tramaine Brock is questionable. He's going to be a game time decision because he's got a hamstring problem. With those injuries aside, the first thing I want to evaluate Saturday evening is the punt returner. Oh my fucking God. Just fucking find someone to fucking catch the fucking football. Fuck. Vance Joseph said if Jordan Taylor were healthy, the job would have been his. Don't get me wrong, Jordan Taylor was much better than McKenzie last season, but even Taylor dropped one last year. I think it might have bounced out of bounds, but this is not a tough thing to figure out if you're a coach, okay? And I'm not just ripping on Vance Joseph or Brock Olivo from last season. This has been an issue for the Broncos coaching staff for years. The special teams punt returner has been an area of suck for years. I mean, even Jordan Norwood struggled back there before setting the Super Bowl record for longest punt return in Super Bowl history. The last dynamic punt returner the Broncos had was Trendon Holiday Road. Throwback. And he too fumbled the fuck out of the ball. So the last real good punt returner was Eddie Royal. You'll never be Eddie Royal. And before him, Delta O'Neal. It's been 6 or 7 years and the Broncos haven't figured this shit out. Personally, I would have forced Emmanuel Sanders to do it the way the Steelers have done with Antonio Brown. But I'm smarter than everybody. So in this game, and in all of the preseason games, I will be watching Isaiah McKenzie, River Craycraft, and Phillip Lindsay very closely. McKenzie's listed number 1 on the depth chart for punt returners, and Lindsay number 1 on kick return. Lindsay has dropped a few punts in camp, which is why Craycraft is probably ahead of him. If you drop a punt, you don't get the job. Same way if I show up to work drunk for the 3rd day in a row, I get my Lyft credentials revoked. And that's why I drive Uber now. They don't give a fuck what I do. Now the dark horse, outside of Boulder, in the punt return race is obviously Garrett Bowles as the real number 1 punt returner, which DenverBroncos.com originally had him listed. That's not a joke, that is real. He probably won't play punt returner in the preseason so that nobody is prepared for him to destroy special teams as a returner week 1 against the Seahawks. After all, we know he has great hands, Look how carelessly he holds his child in the air. I'm sure he'll be more careful with a lifeless football. The next thing I'm going to be looking at is Paxton Lynch and Chad Kelly. I hope both of them suck, so Elway will trade them both to the Jets for Teddy Bridgewater. From now on, I only want former Vikings quarterbacks on the Broncos roster. Yes, even Sam Bradford. And when the Vikings don't re-sign Cousins in 3 years because he's too fucking expensive, I'll take his old ass too. I'm kidding. I just want Paxton Lynch to suck so we can move on with Chad Kelly and a veteran QB like, I don't know, Matt Moore. Sweat. I was at one day of Broncos training camp, and it may have been Paxton Lynch's worst day of the year. And second worst day of his life. His worst day, of course, was when he spent the entire day thinking he lost his iPhone. Turns out he just forgot that he owned a Samsung Galaxy. The day I watched Lynch, he threw 2 picks, would have taken a couple sacks, and struggled to complete check down passes. He will get second string reps against the Vikings, but we in Broncos country all want to see what Chad Kelly can do. Sweat. He has the air of mystery around him since he didn't play at all last year. And we like mystery more than tall quarterbacks here in Denver. The day I watched Chad Kelly at camp, he looked great, throwing a couple TDs, including some deep balls, and just appeared to have rhythm going with the third string team. If Lynch looks bad in this first game, I think the Broncos coaching staff better sack up and tell Elway they need to take a longer look at Kelly. Jim Kelly didn't beat cancer for a third straight time to watch his nephew play third fiddle to Paxton Lynch. If Chad Kelly doesn't jump ahead of Paxton Lynch on the depth chart, then I think it's fair to say John Elway supports cancer. Sweat. If Lynch doesn't look good this preseason, Denver has to move on, like immediately. I don't care if that means the team has to eat $4 million. Chad Kelly was the last pick in the draft. He looks slightly better than Lynch with 2 years less of development, and he's cheap as hell because of his draft position. I haven't played QB1 since 8th grade, and I could have learned the Broncos offense faster than Lynch. And yes, I will eat these words. I will eat them like a healthy bowl of salad if over the next 4 games Lynch balls out and throws twice as many touchdowns as he does interceptions and has a QB rating, say, over 85. But here's the difference between Kelly and Lynch right now. Neither has looked great in training camp, okay? But Kelly was on IR all of last season. He didn't get any meaningful reps. Paxton Lynch has been practicing on this team for 2 full seasons, heading into his 3rd, and has shown almost no signs of progress. Kelly may never take a meaningful snap as a starter in the NFL, but right now, he has the uncertainty of at least being able to show us he can improve at the position.
You son of a bitch!
You know what they say, the devil's talking to you when you sneeze. Now defensively, I'm just as excited as everyone to buy some loose-fitting pants in the crotch area in order to enjoy a game with a 3.5-hour Chubb for Chubb. I bet you thought I was gonna say 3.5-inch Chubb, didn't you? Sorry, I'm more mature than that now. However, what I care about is the secondary. The problem is, what I wanted to see won't happen in this first game. With Cravens out and Tramaine Brock questionable, we're gonna get a good taste of Isaac Yiadom and another look at Brendan Langley at corner, or really just any corner. Please, one corner look awesome Saturday night. Brock and Cravens are basically the 2 players who could determine whether or not the back end of this defense is as dominant as the back end of a Kardashian. With Cravens out, Jamal Carter has an opportunity to prove his value as a nickel safety. We already know he can hit like a freight train, but I want to see if his coverage skills improved at all. If Isaac Yiadom plays well, I think that's how you say his name, that will be a great sign. But those injuries force me to shift my attention to Demaryius Walker at defensive end. Back at his natural position on the field, I am optimistic he will make more of an impact in a second season and give the Broncos great depth on the D-line. The running back group is going to be fluid, like a jug of Yeti piss you keep under your bed so Bill Belichick doesn't sneak into your room at night and steal your soul. Devontae Booker is getting the start, which means We'll actually see quite a bit of Royce Freeman. I'm just as excited, though, to see D'Angelo Henderson, who I thought was the highlight of last year's preseason. I think he will become a weapon on this offense and earn at least one Big Dick Player Award this season. D'Angelo, don't let me down. Finally, it's all about Courtland Sutton.
Are you the best receiver in this year's draft?
Tell it true. There we go. I like it already.
He is the conductor of the hype train so far in Broncos camp. Wide receivers usually are, though, because their best skill, catching the ball, is magnified in camp when they have no fear of getting laid out or taken out by the knees when they go up for a pass. Yes, he's made circus-like catches, but it has all been with nothing on the line. Chris Harris said Sutton needs to learn more than one route. If that one route, though, is jump ball, I score touchdowns, then I think he's fine running that one route for half the season while he learns the others. And then, yes, we will witness Jake. I promise to make 0 butt jokes while you make your debut at tight end for the Broncos. But with Heuerman out, Butt has a chance to do what David Njoku did for the Browns on Thursday. Catch a couple touchdowns and make us all stop living in the past with Julius Thomas. God, he was good with Peyton, wasn't he? Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Enjoy the game Saturday. Also, we have a podcast every week, Will Keys and I. It's half Broncos, half NFL podcast. There's a link in the description. We posted on my second YouTube channel, That's Good Broncos, iTunes, Podbean, all that stuff. Give us a rating, listen to it, tell us how much it is okay.